Good morning to our dear thesis panel members and to our thesis advisor. We will present a systematic review on the extraction methods of phytochemicals in Symbobogon stratus inhibiting escape pathogens. According to the World Health Organization, escape pathogens are a group of bacteria that are global priority pathogens of critical high and medium antibiotic resistance. Enterococcus faecium, Staphylococcus aureus, Klebsiella pneumoniae, Acinetobacter baumannii, Pseudomonas aeruginosa, and Enterobacter species, which are also known as multi-drug-resistant pathogens, causes nosocomial infections worldwide. These regarded escape pathogens to pose great threats to global human health. On the other hand, phytochemicals, which are naturally found in plants, have been reported for improving human health through their pharmacological properties by treating various diseases, one of which are caused by pathogens. In particular, phytochemicals have been studied for its potential bioactivity against escape pathogens. Meanwhile, Cymbobogon citratus is a perennial herb that is widely known and utilized for its phytochemicals, which were found to have medicinal properties such as anti-cancer and antibacterial activity. Studies have also reported C. citratus inhibition on human pathogens such as Staphylococcus aureus, Acinetobacter baumannii, and other human pathogens. In order to obtain, measure, and identify phytochemicals, appropriate extraction methods are vital. Specifically, employing an appropriate extraction method for phytochemicals found in C. citratus would result in larger and higher quality yields of phytochemical extracts, particularly noted for their inhibition of escape pathogens. Extraction is a process of separation of plant bioactive compounds with the use of specific solvents and done in standard protocols. It is grouped into conventional extraction methods such as maceration, percolation, steam distillation, and hydrodistillation, and more, while modern extraction methods include ultrasound-assisted extraction, vacuum distillation, solvent extraction, and more. Certain bioactive compounds can be extracted by various extraction methods that influence the inhibition of escape pathogens. This is why the researchers employ this systematic review to help evaluate the suitability of various extraction methods for phytochemicals of Symphobogon citratus for inhibiting escape pathogens, specifically to provide beneficial information to the public health policymakers, agencies for drug development and pharmaceutical industries, and the academe, scientists, and future researchers. With this, the general objective of our study is to conduct a systematic review on the different extraction methods and phytochemicals in C. citratus that inhibit escape pathogens. Specifically, to gather and compare conventional and modern extraction methods for C. citratus in terms of extraction yield, phytochemicals extracted, and effectiveness against escape pathogens. To also identify phytochemicals that are bioactive against escape pathogens, and to determine the extraction method that inhibit escape pathogens.
And for the methodology, presented here is the Prisma flow of our study, from identification process to the screening of papers and to the inclusion of accepted data studies. First, records were identified from the three databases with corresponding number of their unfiltered results, namely Google Scholar with 703, Science Direct with 1024, and Semantic Scholar with 311 records respectively, amounting to a total of 2,038 records from three databases. We also identified other records which were identified from other websites with 82 records and from the citation searching with 5 records. Duplicates records of 353 were removed from the three databases, resulting to 1,658 records subjected for the screening process using our established inclusion and exclusion criteria. For the first set of criteria, those which were not experimental and not in IMRED format, as well as those with no full access, were excluded, amounting to 1,143 records removed among the databases, leaving 515 records for further eligibility assessment, while with the other records from websites and citation searchings, 42 records were excluded, leaving 45 to the next eligibility assessment. Among the 515 identified and initially screened records from the databases, 302 papers were excluded, having no Symbopogon citratus, another 22 removed for lacking phytochemical screening, 20 having no extraction method, another 18 with no extraction yield, and 138 as well having not any escape pathogens, all in all amounting to 500 papers and leaving 15 papers eligible for the next steps. On the other hand, the same process was conducted with other records, with 34 papers removed, leaving 11 papers eligible for the next steps. By the use of OHAT risk of bias tool, one paper from databases did not qualify the definitely low risk, while on the other sources there were two. Moreover, using the Saimago quality appraisal, further filtering of the paper, removing 5 papers among the databases and 3 papers among other sources was done. All in all, there were 9 from databases and 6 from other sources found to be eligible, definitely low risk of bias, and passed the quality appraisal, amounting to a total of 15 included studies for this systematic review. This slide presents the inclusion and exclusion criteria used in the study. For the next slide, the risk of bias results were summarized in a horizontal bar. And on this slide, the quality appraisal filtering is visualized with the rejected and accepted studies. Finally, out of 2,038 records from databases and 82 from other sources, 15 studies were included for data retrieval, processing, and analysis. For a quick summary, out of 15, 10 studies were found with conventional extraction methods, 5 with modern extraction methods, and 3 utilizing both methods.
For the results, Objective 1A shows the comparison between conventional and modern extraction methods in terms of extraction yield. In conventional methods, maceration using ethanol solvent obtained the highest yield of 9%, followed by maceration using hexane solvent with 6.6% yield. Modern methods, on the other hand, acquired the highest yield of 3.40% using vacuum distillation, followed by microwave-assisted method having 1.85% yield. Generally, conventional methods produced higher extraction yield compared to modern methods. Comparison of the phytochemical extracted from Thesis using conventional and modern methods of extraction answers Objective 1B. Based on the results, major phytochemicals found in conventional methods are terpenoids, phenolic acid, lipids, alkaloids, tannins, saponin, and flavonoids. Maceration produced the most phytochemicals extracted from Thesis which includes terpenoids, lipids, phenolic acids, flavonoids, tannins, saponin, phenols, and alkaloids. Modern methods, on the other hand, extracted lesser phytochemicals, including terpenoids, phenolic acids, and flavonoids. Ultrasound-assisted extraction methods produce the highest number of phytochemicals, which are phenolic acids and flavonoids. Overall, conventional methods extracted a higher number of phytochemicals in comparison to modern methods. Objective 1C exhibits the comparison in the effectiveness between conventional and modern extraction methods against the inhibition of escape pathogens. S. aureus and P. aeruginosa were both tested in studies of conventional and modern methods, while K. pneumoniae and E. baumannii were only tested in some studies who used conventional methods. Conventional methods inhibited both S. aureus and P. aeruginosa. Similarly, K. pneumoniae and E. baumannii were also inhibited using conventional methods. In modern methods, S. aureus and P. aeruginosa were also inhibited. Thus, both methods, the conventional and modern, inhibited two escape pathogens, which are S. aureus and P. aeruginosa. Plant phytochemicals are known to be bioactive compounds. In Objective 2, we identified bioactive compounds of C. citratus using different extraction methods against escape pathogens. In conventional methods, terpenoids are the most extracted bioactive compounds against S. aureus, P. aeruginosa, K. pneumoniae, and Acinetobacter baumannii. Similarly, presence of lipids, phenols, tannin, saponins, alkaloids, and flavonoids were also observed to be bioactive against S. aureus, P. aeruginosa, and K. pneumoniae. In modern methods, terpenoids are displayed to be bioactive against S. aureus and P. aeruginosa, while the presence of flavonoids suggested to be bioactive against S. aureus. Determination of the extraction methods of C-citratus phytochemicals that inhibit escape pathogens is presented in Objective 3. Inhibition is characterized by yes, while no means there is no inhibition. Inhibition was also categorized either by zone of inhibition or minimum inhibitory concentration. In conventional methods, tested for zones of inhibition, S. aureus was highly inhibited using hydrodistillation with a zone of inhibition of 49 millimeters. P. aeruginosa was highly inhibited using steam distillation, while K. pneumoniae was highly inhibited by hydrodistillation. In terms of the minimum inhibitory concentration, S. aureus was highly inhibited by hydrodistillation. P. aeruginosa and K. pneumoniae, however, did not show inhibition. A. baumannii, which was tested using hydrodistillation, showed inhibition. For modern methods, all were found to have inhibition against S. aureus and P. aeruginosa, both in zone of inhibition and minimum inhibitory concentration. In the zone of inhibition, S. aureus was highly inhibited by ultrasound-assisted extraction. In terms of MIC, S. aureus and P. aeruginosa were highly inhibited using vacuum distillation.
We, the researchers, conclude that conventional methods extracted more C. citratus yields and phytochemicals, while modern extraction methods inhibited escape pathogens more than the conventional. Also, major bioactive compounds inhibiting escape pathogens found in C. citratus were terpenoids, flavonoids, phenolic acids, tannins, saponin, and alkaloids. To further improve this systematic review, we recommend that there should be inhibition tests of C. citratus phytochemicals against all escape pathogens, particularly on Enterobacter species and Enterococcus faecium, and complete data should be present in experimental studies such as quantified phytochemicals and controls for assessing for minimum inhibitory concentrations and zone of inhibition. Here are our references. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, researchers, for that comprehensive presentation of your study. So we now proceed with the evaluation of your paper. Pwedeng stop na muna ng screen sharing. Okay, so yan, para kita natin lahat. So, how do we go about with this one? What do you suggest? We do it by part pa din? Sir Art? Sir RR? Or yung ginagawa mo, Sir RR, na
Diretso na.
diretsuhan?
That could work also, I think, in the interest of time.
Mhm.
Siguro, I'll maybe later na lang siguro ako.
Sige. Okay, so, siguro ako na lang muna, and then, I'm going to give, yung ginagawa ko na lang siguro, sir, mas parang mas effective, efficient ako sa ganun na
Sige pa.
by part, and then bibigay ko muna yung mga comments ko, and then kung may mga hindi may mga kulang pa or may mga gusto pang idagdag yung other panel members, day after ko sila naman para makumpleto natin by part. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll start with the abstract. First of all, you don't have the keywords for your abstract. By the way, we're going to focus on the findings. Ito mga iba, mga ano na lang to, mga side comments. Okay. However, for the abstract, medyo parang hindi ko siya ma-fit. Parang may mga kulang sa pakaka-state ng abstract, as well as some things that need to be restated, like nasaan na ba yun? Teka lang ha.
Like yung extraction methods ata ma'am.
Ha?
Yung mga extraction method.
Oo, parang may something wrong.
Too short na hindi
Mga
na describe.
mga statements like sa line 141, meanwhile, modern methods exhibit more inhibitions. Things like that, parang mali ang pakaka-state nung gusto nyong sabihin. You have the idea but you were not able to articulate it well para mabigay nyo yung tamang idea na nasa sa inyo. So, kindly restate this one, yung inyong abstract. Anyway, magbabago pa naman yung abstract nyo based doon sa iba pa naming sasabihin or i-comment sa results and discussion. Okay? So, set aside muna natin yung abstract. Unless, Sir Art, you have something to say about the abstract? Or i-leave lang mo sa sige?
Yung concern ko is yung line 143. Nag-mention sila doon na there has been some sort of association of bioactive compounds, extractive, pero wala naman yun sa methods and data analysis nila, how were they able to associate between these variables, parang ganun. So I think careful ang na lang siguro use of words, especially if they did not perform a specific analysis on the data.
Oo, wala namang association analysis na ginawa, di ba? Okay. Sige. So, Sir RR?
Ma'am, same observation. Yung yun nga, siguro masyadong na-concise naman yung pagkakasulat nila. Where when in fact your abstract should show yung results na din. Like itong line 140, actually nagbabago pala yung lines habang kunyari pag may kasi usually kunyari nag-edit ako ng nagdadagdag pa siya ng line. Anyway, yung 140, 141 lines, yung conventional methods were found with higher yields and phytochemicals. Yung mga ganito, siguro better na nakaspecify na siya which conventional methods were found with higher yields and phytochemicals.
Kumaga direct to the point na pakaka-state.
Followed by modern methods exhibit more inhibitions of what? Mga ganong So, I think nandun yung yung mga results niyo na maganda na wherein I think siguro yung mga yung with the Venn diagrams could actually go in here yung results niya doon.
Okay. So,
and I think yung sa last part din ma'am siguro yung conclusion and recommendation kasi hindi na din nila isama dito. Supposedly yun po sana yung parang ending statement.
oo. Ayun. So, please take note of that, plus yung parang kulang sa articulation ng mga things that need to be said doon sa abstract. Okay? So, we'll now proceed with the introduction. Sa introduction, ang napansin ko lang, wala pala akong napansin. Sorry. You have any comments, Sir Art and Sir RR, for the introduction?
Wala naman po ma'am.
Actually, ma'am, yeah, okay naman po yung intro.
Okay din. Objectives, the same pa din nung dati, Ma'am Jo, or na-revise na ito?
Na-revise na, ma'am.
Okay.
Yun
Opo.
yung extraction method, yung conventional and then modern na incorporate.
Okay. Okay, so proceed with the review of related literature. Ang napansin ko lang dito sa review of related literature is with your figure 1. Are these your own photos?
Mm-mm.
Yes po.
Okay. Kasi I was thinking, if these are not your own photos, then you have to cite the sources. Just the same, kung photos nyo ito, you own these photographs. Ako ba yung maingay? Okay. Kindly improve the caption or the figure title. Again, may parang kulang, hindi properly articulated yung pakakastate nyo ng um, ng title. I think the better title is the Symbopogos citratus habit. Diba? The habit would show the plant itself. Tingnan nyo kung paano mag-cite properly or mag-describe properly sa title kapag you are going to show a plant. Tapos A would be the plant in clumps, and then B would be the plant with showing the rhizome. Okay, hindi siya agad-agad figure 1A blah 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 and then B blah blah blah. Okay?
Similar din siguro, ma'am, if they're
Oo.
going to use yung figure. Much better if you put a scale kung para makita kung gaano kalaki yung plant, etc.
Yeah.
Para mas madali siya. And then also in review of related literature. Ay, RRL tayo na, ma'am.
RRL.
Yung mga tables din na kinuha nyo, much better if you, instead of screen capturing and then pasting it there, I think i-encode nyo na lang siguro.
Yeah.
And then, identify na lang siguro yung mga important na content ng related to your study.
Yeah, I agree. Comment ko din yon na napipixelate kasi yung tables
Agree.
with figures kapag
Same din man.
captured siya as image tapos ipapasok sa text. So better if retype or do something else na that would make it more appealing kaysa ganito na nagbo-blur tuloy siya. Okay?
Yep.
And then, apo. Yes,
Same
sir?
ma'am. Same observation din. Yun nga. Kasi yung resolution ng mga figures nyo, yun nga, na lumalabo or itong like table 1. Tapos also yun nga, again, same with majority yata yung organization ng tables and figures where yung again, remember you have to cite the figure first and then immediately following the paragraph dapat nandun si table. So may mga may mga nakahiwalay yata na tables. So naka-indicate naman siya sa papers. Kindly double check on those. Tapos I think editorial lang to. Hindi ko kasi ma'am yung I think I have to generally din ito to everyone din sa thesis 3 kung yung ating subheadings ba na with with scientific names kasi sila yata lang hindi na nakabuo. I mean very small nuance lang na siguro consistency na lang nung i-bold na lang all throughout na naka-italicize yung and then yun nga lowercase so tama naman kasi in some of the papers naka all caps yata.
Okay. So speaking of subheadings, I think the proper subheading for line 512, page 10 would be phytochemicals from Sibupogon citratus. And then on page 14, before line 582, you place another subheading which is on the extraction methods. Pag anuhan niyo siya, pag i-cut niyo siya kasi masyado na siyang mahaba. Tapos yun nga, may transition naman from the phytochemicals and then next would be the extraction methods. Okay? So minor na lang naman yan sa RRL. And we now proceed to the Yes, sir.
On that note also, would it be better kaya na mauna si extraction nila and then si phytochemicals?
Pwede naman, sir, kasi on page 26, ang next nilang subheading is phytochemicals of Simbopogon inhibiting escape pathogens.
Ayun, ayun, tama. So,
So, para mas yung
better
transition.
yun.
Okay? So, do we have anything else to say about the related literature? I think yung last ko sa RRL, yung page 30, line 987, may nakalagay yung panggap. I think sa format natin, hindi na natin siya nilalagay. Parang, you have one sentence or one paragraph for the synthesis of the art or for identifying the gaps, pero hindi na siya with a subheading. Okay? And then please refrain from saying the researchers, blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Opo.
Additional comment na lang
Nagiging
po,
subject
ma'am.
yung researchers. Sorry, si Art.
Ayun po. Yung ano po kasi, ma'am, dito sa line 879 po nila, this is basically the content supposedly of the results in discussion already. Yung
Ano, sir?
phytochemicals. Yung 879 po, ma'am. Yung minimension po
879.
kanina. And then I found that mas madami pa tuloy yung discussion dito ng different
Yeah.
phytochemicals
Oo.
kaysa doon sa systematic review.
Oo.
Kaya ayun, so kaya medyo na ano din ako na bakit ang dami-daming literatures dito and then only 15 were included in the actual study.
Actually,
Yeah.
Parang ayun.
Pwede
So,
na siya
kung siguro-
actually mailipat doon sa
sa
results and discussion.
Opo. So instead siguro of specifically identifying it as or under Simbukugon, siguro general na lang na phytochemicals.
Phytochemicals from plants.
Para at least para by the time that they are already discussing about phytochemicals, maybe escape, marerelate na lang nila yung kung nag-inhibit ba itong mga ganito phytochemicals, etc. Para hindi na nila inuulit-ulit doon sa discussion. Yun po.
So, for the last part of the related literature, it would be phytochemicals generally inhibiting pathogens, not necessarily escape. Okay, and then the discussion where some of this can be transferred when talking about escape pathogens, doon na sa results and discussion. Okay? Para hindi masyadong mahaba naman yung RRL nyo, tapos kulang doon sa discussion part. Okay? So, yes, sir?
Ayun, I think kasi nag-scroll down ako, may napansin pala akong ano din. On your subheading ng 890 phytochemicals of Simbopogon citratus inhibiting escape pathogen. 890, somewhere 890, line 890. Yun nga, parang na-reintroduce ulit dito sa escape pathogens with parang longer paragraphs. Tapos bigla ko tuloy napansin na parang wala silang review or wala silang RRL nung escape pathogen primarily. So parang na-mention ko dito. Oo, parang if kung tama ako if baka napansin niyo din more on the extraction methods and the phytochemicals. But parang missing yata yung
on the escape.
Review on the escape. So yung I commented here na this could be expanded and then probably put on top nung ano to say something about escape pathogen first as well.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So, we'll now proceed with the methodology. Okay? Sino gusto mauna? Sir Art?
Wala naman ako mag-issue sa methods. Doon po talaga ako sa
RRL. Sige. I have some things about the methods. Yung sa exclusion and inclusion criteria nyo, I think it would be better if you present it as a flowchart para madali siyang makita, madali siyang mabasa, madali siyang masundan. Okay? Although you can still say some things about it, explain nyo pa din, but a flowchart would be better. Okay? So that's for lines 1022 to 1030. And also, yun nga, sa line 1038, 1042, no need to mention itong mga who did what. Okay? Hindi na to kailangan. Kasi ang assumption natin, lahat kayo talaga nag-work sa mga ano to, sa mga ginawa nyo ito. Okay? And yung sa risk of bias assessment, you have this tool questionnaire, page 331068. Again, you don't need to say explicitly dito sa part na to yung mga questions. It can be placed na lang as appendix yung inyong risk of bias tool questionnaire. Checklist siya, di ba? So you have the parameters, and then kung 15 lang naman ang ginamit nyo na articles, then pwede nyo nang ilagay doon yung 15 articles, i-arrange nyo na lang properly on how to present it. Na makikita na yung, ano ba to, yes, no ba to, or with values yung assessment.
Naka-arrow po yung ano.
Arrow?
Yes po.
Arrow down, arrow up yung ano.
Yes.
Okay, arrow down, arrow up.
Oh, kasi doon din ako mamina
Nalito ako eh.
If I may, ma'am, allowed to
Sige po.
Yung, yun nga, yung same observation with ma'am means na yung itong OHAT, risk of bias tool questionnaire nyo na naka-enumerate pa. The following are the excerpts.
Oo.
1079 up to So yun nga, this would go into your appendix na lang din. No? Tapos, yun nga, itong nalito ako nitong may mga arrow-arrow. Ano bang definition nitong dalawang arrow down? Or although yan nga, low risk of bias. So the papers would have, nung in-assess, arrow downs or arrow up, and the number of arrows yung makikita dun sa table niyo. So I'm not sure kung paano niyo siya present din.
Oo. So the questionnaire can be placed at the latter part na lang as appendix. Ang explain nyo na lang dito sa text nyo is how did you use it? Like for example, meron na rin pala pag dalawang arrow pababa, low bias, etc. Ako, nalito din ako doon. And then for the quality appraisal also, pwede nyo din siyang ilagay as appendix na lang. Pero may threshold ba dito sa quality appraisal? May threshold like dapat sa quartile 1 to quartile 3. Checklist din ba ito?
Having the highest values.
Oo.
Yung pwede nila siguro dito. You can describe ano itong mga values na to na sinasabi for the first quartile. And then link this to an appendix to show nitong mga to.
Okay.
And small lang din, yun nga, citations or URLs for yung mga tools because they are missing, for example, the OHAT ROB, yung si Imago, mga small lang, things to add, and not to be missed.
Okay, so we'll proceed with the results and discussion. And since Sir Art, sabi mo, dito ka nakafocus, then we will give the floor to you. Mag-add kami ni Sir RR later on. Kasi madami akong, medyo nalilito ako dun sa results and discussion.
The contents.
Apo.
Yan, sige po. Actually, parang nung binabasa ko na yung paper, what I was actually looking for is already the analysis of the 15 papers lang naman kasi included. So I was hoping that there is an in-depth analysis possibly of the work, but more, ang mas nakita ko dito is just descriptives. Basically, mga descriptions lang ng mga observations na nakita, etc. So, ayun, siguro I'll start first with yung yung sa Prisma Flow of the Study, which is I
Yeah.
think very good that you showed how how you got to 15 studies. Pero I think you appended it sa dulo, but I think it would be much better if maglagay lang kayo ng one screenshot and then share a link on the document na ginamit niyo during the assessment para makikita din nung for example if I am to view the document kung ano yung mga reason why this paper was not included, etc. Makikita namin siya. Kasi yung mga screenshots nyo are just parang filler lang or parang space consumer lang siya ng paper. And hindi naman talaga siya nababasa. So, if you can have a link na lang that the readers can go into para makita mismo yung kung paano nyo siya kinat off one by one, it will be much better. And yun nga, ang main question ko dito is, why is it that parang umabot na lang kayo sa 15?
Yeah.
Is the method or yung inclusion-exclusion criteria has been parang too stringent? Kaya kukonti na lang yung nakuha yung 15 lang. And at the same time, when you presented the RRL kanina on the phytochemicals inhibiting escape, ang dami-dami doon na mention na literatures. Pero dito, nung nag-start na tayo, bakit 15 na lang yung nakuha?
If I may add also, parang iba yung present nyo kanina na Prisma kaysa dito sa flowchart. And napansin ko, yun nga, from 2038, naging 15 na lang. Pero actually, kung susundan mo tong flowchart na to, it's actually 26. Kasi, database, hindi ko siya nasusundan. Nalilito ako doon sa mga figures na nakalagay nyo. Tinatry ko siyang i-subtract and i-add. Hindi siya nagsasum up.
Parang nakaano kasi siya, kagaya ng punya sa pinakanya, parang horizontally mo siya babasahin.
Oo.
And then saka ka mag-vertical.
Oo.
I-equal naman siya sa 50. Kaso lang, yun nga po, super dami yung natanggal. I think okay lang siguro yung sa first screening. Kasi kailangan talaga IMRAD and full text access. Almost half was tawag mo dito, natanggal.
Kasi dito sa flowchart nila, so dito sa first column, di ba 515? Tapos may na-exclude pa na 500, that's why may na-retain na 15. Pero meron ka pang additional na 11 coming from the other method.
Other source.
Oo. So that's 26. Tapos dito sa baba nyo, page, line 1166, you mentioned about 25 studies evaluated for risk of bias. Kaya hindi ko siya makorelate alin ba tama dito or mali ba yung aking interpretation ng data nyo and then the flow chart. Aside from that, sige, sino nag-speak? Sir Art?
I think ma'am kasi yung risk of bias is parang second step shot of before the end. Kaya may natanggal pa. Kasi kung makikita mo ma'am dito sa Prisma Flow Study, yung 11 na yun, hindi pa yun totally 11. May exclude pa po doon na 5.
Oo.
So kaya naging 6. 10 plus 6 talaga 15.
Kaya may kulang dito. May kulang dito sa Prisma Flow chart nyo to show na yung 11 na yun ay may natanggal pa. Diba?
Meron ma'am sa site.
Wala.
Yung records excluded. Yun po yun. I think.
3, 4, 5. Hindi din. Kasi tingnan mo, yung records excluded lahat 0. Tapos yung risk of bias 2 and then quality appraisal 3. Tapos
yung 5 yung natanggal.
5 yung natanggal pero dito sa yung sa last box, ang other sources naging 6 na lang. So sa talang 5 doon.
5 plus 6 ma'am, 11. Ayos siya ba ma'am? From 11 na other sources, nabawasan ng 5 kaya naging 6.
So sige, kung ganon, kung ako mismo nagbabasa nito, nalilito ako, that means there's something wrong with how the flowchart was presented.
Ito ba yung standard presentation for Prisma?
Oo, ganito yung standard presentation. Parang, kasi several, ano naman to, several studies na systematic review. Yung iba naman, madali mo siyang masundan. Like, ilan na lang yung natira out of the, after all the exclusion parameters na ginamit. So, yung last box would represent kung ilan na lang natira. Pero yun nga, yung sa Prisma flowchart nyo, you still have, sabihin natin 15 nga, um, basta nakakalito siya. Ayusin nyo na lang siguro yung presentation para mapakita nyo na 15 na nga lang talaga.
And then also dun sa full text, no available full text access kasi halos kalahati yung tanggal dito. Di ba during the defense naman, you mentioned you can use parang yung
Sci-hub.
Sci-hub, etc.
Oo.
para maka-retrieve kayo ng mas
Oo.
madami. Did you try kung nare-retrieve naman to, especially if may DOI naman siya?
Kasi parang ang sayang, no? 2,000 and then you came up with just 15 for the study. So, ang dami pa sanang baka posibleng nakadagdag pa sa data nyo. Aside from that, napansin ko din na one of your exclusion criteria is not in IMRAD format. So, would the format really matter? Or is it the content that you need to scrutinize para ma-include yung study sa review nyo?
Or parang minimum parang minimum content yung IMRAD na dapat may intro, method, results, and discussion.
But for most articles naman, ganun ang ginagamit. Diba?
Opo. Pero yun nga ma'am, parang super dami kasi ng 1,000 plus na natanggal. Dito lang sa excluded lang dito sa no available full text, not experimental, not IMRAD format. So yun sana yung gusto kong makita. Wait, reason why I wanted to share the link ng document para makikita namin kung alin doon yung mga na-remove na 1,143 from here. Yes po ma'am.
Yeah, ma-main, sir.
Sir. Opo, ma'am.
Opo. Nasabihan na din naman sila about na pwede silang gumamit ng Sci-Hub. So, itanong po natin ngayon sa mga student researchers kung ginamit pa rin ba nila yung Sci-Hub to access yung mga journals na hindi open access ba? John, Richard, and Mary Jane, explain na.
Thank you po for that suggestion. Yes po, we use Sci-Hub kasi yung mga 15 papers po namin more on ano po sila, not open access. And from 2000 po bumawas hanggang 15 kasi po yung mga nasa exclusion po namin tulad ng extraction yield po or na-mention na escape pathogens, wala po doon sa paper. Saka po, yung iba pong pumasok, halimbawa po doon sa 26 studies na nasabi, may nabawasan po kung 11 kasi po hindi po pumasa sa ROB tapos quality appraisal po namin.
Wala si Sir RR.
Yung 1,000 plus, yung 1,143, lahat ito tinry niyong i-retrieve or hindi?
Yes po, sir. We tried po. And lahat po namin binasa. Yung pangalawa po namin na filtering is accepting and rejecting studies based on our inclusion and exclusion po. So doon pa lang po, nagna-note na po kami if kulang po ng extraction yield or wala pong escape pathogen na ginamit, ay na tinest po or hindi C.C.tratus. Kasi po, most...
Yung sa ano pala, yung sa no escape pathogens, meaning ang tinitingnan nyo lang is yung escape, pero na-try siya sa other organisms or hindi ba?
Na-try din po sa parang at least one escape pathogens po may present sa some study.
Okay.
Sir?
Sayang lang siguro, medyo parang naano ata natin mami, no? During the proposal. na-restrict
Oo.
masyado tuloy sa SK.
Oo.
Halos 100 plus din pala yung natanggal dahil anyhow, hindi naman
Sige,
kasi na
nandito
pag-usapan.
na tayo. So, accept na natin to. Asan si Sir RR? Nawala si Sir, baka nag-brown out sa kanila.
If I may,
Anyway,
ma'am,
yes.
para lang ano ma'am, kasi nakafocus po sila dun sa escape pathogens. So,
Oo.
kung, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. No? So, parang pag tinitingnan nila ma'am yung paper, dapat sa isang paper, pasok yung lahat ng ng kailangan nila in terms of their objectives. Like, for example, yung Cicitratus, yung plant organism, tapos meron dapat yung yield, may phytochemical na extract, and then yung two methods sa conventional and then modern. And then, yung organisms niya, kahit nag-test siya ng ibang microorganisms, dapat at least may isa na may escape or escape yung focus niya. Kaya maraming nawala.
Oo. Yeah, pwede naman yon. Ang nabother lang ako doon sa not in IMRAD format. Kasi baka meron pa doon. Parang naging una yun na naging una yun na filter.
Criteria.
Diba?
Oo.
Tapos sumunod na lang yung mga other things na nando doon sa objectives. Anyway, so sige. Sige, Sir Art.
Okay, so to continue, okay. So ayun lang, I think kapag nag-start kayo ng discussion, don't parang huwag naman yung parang figure 4 shows, table 1 shows, ganito ganyan. Figures and tables should be parang references lang or supplementary to the discussion. So dapat yung kayo mismo yung mag-dictate ng flow ng discussion, not the table, not the figures. So ayun. And then, I think yung concern ko na lang dito, I think is more on yung pag-present niya ng 15 studies. Kasi for me, parang medyo nahihirapan ako sa kanyang basahin kasi paulit-ulit na mention si Sean et al, Value et al, may author kasi kayo nagpa-present ng data. And considering na 15 lang siya, hindi parang nahihirapan akong i-digest yung ng work niyo. So I think instead of focusing on the authors, I think pwede ba kayong i-ano na lang siya? Total 15 lang naman ito. Provide a specific code per paper. Like for example, one letter indicating yung extraction method and then one letter indicating kung ano yung ang tawag mo dito, yung solvent na ginamit, etc. Para every time nababasahin ko na si conventional maceration using water, CMW. So every time nababasahin ko na yun yung extraction method and solvent, siya lang lagi makikita ko. Anyhow, hindi naman importante yung author at this point kasi we're already parang considering them as part of your data already. And ang focus supposedly is on the extraction method, the solvent, etc. So ayun, so kaya medyo nalilito ako. Every time na nag-discuss kayo ng ganitong method, laging na-mention yung author, which is supposedly incorporated naman na kasi talaga siya kasi sila yung main sources of information. So ayun, okay ba yun, mami? Or parang ano siya, mas
Pwede naman, oo. Oo.
So ayun, so I think para mas simpler kasi basahin yung paper nyo instead of this. So ayun, if you can provide specific codes na lang. And then, ayun, there are many parts of the presentation ng results na very repetitive. Like for example, nag-mention na kayo ng conventional methods, etc. Nag-mention ulit kayo ng dito. Parang nauulit-ulit siya. So I think you need to focus if your goal in writing the paper is writing per objective yung na-specify. Actually, ano ba yung mga objectives na na-specify kanina?
Extraction yield.
Yung 1, 2, and 3. Pero dito kasi, I think yung paano ba ito mamin? Sa results and discussion po ba talaga nilalagay itong mga OHAT, itong mga prisma, something. Nasa results po ba talaga siya? Or
naman kasi ano siya, systematic review. Pero parang short, lang naman siya, introduction or brief description lang naman siya nung paano sila nag-extract. But the focus would be more on the collated studies na.
So yun nga po ma'am, so sana they allot lang siguro sa a few sentences or paragraph for this to introduce, and then
Oo.
since kasi ang nag-appear sa akin, kahit part na siya ng method, dinidiscuss pa rin siya dito sa results and discussion, where you could have incorporated it already in methodology because this is part of the methodology. Like for example, dito yung figure for OHAP-based bias of studies, etc. Dapat siguro makikita na to doon mismo sa method kasunod nung uh,
Is not.
quality criteria or sa etc. etc. Di ba na-discuss nyo naman dun yung sa methods, right? Kung ano yung OHAT, etc. Ipasok nyo na din dun kung ano yung naging na nakuha nyo dito sa study based from ganitong selection criteria, etc. So, parang a lot lang siguro
Few,
a
ano lang,
few
yeah.
a few parang gawin nila lang siya introductory something, not parang siya tuloy yung naging focus niyo yung method. Okay. And then on that also, say okay na ako doon kung pwede na ilipat yun doon sa methodology. Ang ano ko na lang siguro is yung specific processes, since there are only 6 processes, extraction processes na na-mention dito, 3 conventional, 3 modern, would it be possible that instead of parang text yung description, you could provide us some sort of parang figure na lang na ito yung ganito nangyayari or ito yung principle behind this specific extraction method. And then para isahan paano ba ang tawag dito? Parang i-discuss niyo yung lahat ng extraction method na meron kayo, and at the same time parang i-refer niyo na lang siya dun sa figure na ito yung included sa method na to. So para mabigyan yung reader ng mas madali nilang makikita yung differences on how this modern or conventional methods ay ginagawa. So
Parang
ayun,
summary, brief
yes, ma'am.
description and summary of yung process kung paano
Mm-mm.
nag-extract, ano yung focus na extract.
Ako,
or on pwedeng hindi actually description na parang flowchart lang talaga na parang ito yung ito ganito ginagawa yung ganitong method, tapos ito yung output niya, etc. Or if you can put it in a table or whatever that mas madali siguro ma-picture out. Kasi if you are going to discuss parang one by one, parang so parang ang kita ko kasi dito when you are discussing hydrodistillation muna, tapos isisingit nyo na naman yung mga phytochemical, etc. etc. So parang nawawala sa yung flow of discussion. Siguro parang i-collate nyo yung discussion into one. Ano muna yung mga extraction method, modern, conventional, and then discuss the principle, etc. Lahat-lahat na on one discussion, one figure, one table. And then proceed na kayo doon sa next part, yung phytochemicals naman. More on phytochemicals naman yung discuss nyo. Ganun. And I think on that part, ayos po ma'am.
What if, sir, yung method na yun, yung process, ilagay sa RRL?
Actually ma'am, yes. Kung pwede din na since ito lang naman din yung ginamit nila, para hindi na siguro siya repetitively na-discuss kasi supposedly ano na siya, parang know-how na siya during the conduct of the analysis, parang sa ganito. So, and then, ayun, sa line 1226, I don't know what happened, pero parang naputol ata. And then, ayun, ang dami kasing discussion dito about the different methods. Pero yung focus kasi supposedly natin is on the phytochemicals. And then, ayun din, siguro when you already, like for example, in here, line 1248, yung paragraph na yan, when you already presented the data in a table, I don't think that you need to make a descriptive text pa. Kasi supposedly, doon na siya mismo makikita sa table eh. And, ayun, yung table, for example, yung table 3 nyo din, ang layo-layo, nasa line 1257, pero initially na-mention na siya parang pages ago. Siguro ito din yung mini-mention ni Sir R.R. kanina, na after mention siguro sa text or doon sa paragraph, kailangan makikita na kaagad siya or kasunod na mismo yung table or figures.
Yep, same observation ni Sir R.
Medyo malayo na din kasi.
Sir Art, pwede ako mag-insert? Doon sa
Yes po,
sabi mo
ma'am.
na nakikita mo yung discussion ng conventional versus modern. Paano kasi yung sinadjust ko sa kanila, since may dalawang extraction methods na tinitingnan mo, palagi kong pinapauna muna, halimbawa mag-start ka kay conventional method, tingnan mo muna doon yung yield niya. Tapos, then discuss naman yung naging result sa modern, and then compare the two. Tapos, pag pumunta naman siya sa 1.D, which is phytochemical extracted, pinapadescribe ko muna yung nakita nila dun sa sa conventional, modern, tapos i-compare mo yung dalawa. Kaya kung ifa-follow mo yung discussions nila, palaging in reference to two types of extraction methods.
Pero ang pag ganun kasi, ma'am, parang yung descriptions naman kasi ng results can already be found in the table supposedly. So dapat,
Mm-mm.
kung ako yung magsusulat sa kanya, diretso na po ako kaagad sa comparison.
Okay, so
Tapos
parang
is
yung
parang
major results na ano na ba talaga? Okay.
opo, parang direct to the point na lang tayo doon sa kung ano talaga yung in comparison. And then, if the reader would want to know kung ano yung specifics nun na descriptions, makikita na nila yun sa tables or sa figures. Mm. Para, kasi for me, parang ang daming, the results and discussion is too texty, pero hindi ko makita yung mga specific part na may comparison na, or yung part na kung saan natuloy yung may supposedly may analysis or may diniderive na kayo na conclusion or whatever. Yun, dun din ako medyo nahirapan. And then, ano ba to? Ayun, siguro yung coding na lang ulit. Like for example, dito sa extraction method solvent use, para mas madali na lang siya siguro matrace kapag nasa paper. Like for example, meron kayo dito sa table 3, extraction method solvent use. So instead of putting it here na kompleto, what if i-code nyo na lang siya as ME? So basically, it means maceration and then ethanol extraction. Tapos every time na mami-mention yun, yung MP na yun, kasi I think isa lang naman yung MP dito eh. Tama? Oo. Tapos specific naman yun. For example, dito magkapareho sa hydrodistillation water. Pwede na lang sabihin na hydrodistillation hydrodistillation HWP para may ano na lang siya siguro. Para mag-trace na lang kung kanino yung author. Oo. Kasi kung laging i-mention ito, especially yung author, ang hirap niya, ang tawag mo dito, i-trace and i-recall. Walang recall tuloy nung method and nung data. Yung parang gano'n. And then, pwede na actually pagsamahin yung conventional and yung modern into one table kahit hindi na siya parang pinupukul-pukul para mas madali din siguro yung comparison. So, yun po doon sa part na yun.
Yeah.
And then,
Saka
most,
yung extraction yield din kasi, lagyan nyo na lang ng percentage sign doon sa top para hindi na ulit-ulit na may percentage in all entries.
I mean, can I say something po? On yun nga, yun yung, I think yun yung kasi we're looking at the table, so dun kami I think same observations na medyo yung okay, asan to, ganun yung hinahanap. Actually, dun sa presentation nyo, yun yung sort of hinahanap ko, yung mas maganda yung figure nyo with the bar graphs, comparing na, anong ba yun? Anong page, slide number. Tapos yun yung parang, okay, ito yun. Sabi ko nga, mas better pa yung na-present nyo na figure in your presentation than the tables in your paper. So mas nakita yung trend doon kasi again, we're in terms of looking at yields, kita kagad na okay, si hydrodistillation and something, parang ang ganda nga anong graph doon ko na ni-note ko na nga din doon sa paper na that particular figure could actually replace yung table para mas and then you can discuss. And in addition to that, yun nga, na-appreciate din yung Venn diagrams which could actually also go in and then doon na mag-revolve yung discussion rather than presenting the tables na medyo hinahanap namin gusto namin makitang trends. So I think you can do that, maybe replace the table with the figure na yung sinasabi ni Sir Art na nakaano na, combined na yung results such that isang tingin mo kita like yung pagka-present yung table, oy si hydrodistillation